This is my 80-amp 32S brushless motor controller for Ebike, and today I'm gonna show you everything that's great about it. Starting with the top, the most obvious thing is this beautiful heatsink attached with 3 screws. Obviously, it would be a lot better if this top heatsink was extruded with the case. That way, the whole thing will be a lot easier to manufacture and a lot cheaper. But if you've got everything separate like this, you can flex your money and you can show everybody that you can afford this fancy, bad manufacturing. The 3 stainless screws on top holding it together are also great, because if you for some reason break the screw head off, you can't drill the rest of the screw out of the hole. So that renders your controller unusable. Stainless screws are always great because of that. If we flip the controller on the side, we can see that here it has nice holes covered with this Kapton tape. It's designed that way so that you can see the internals through the tape. In this case, we can see that inside it there is more Kapton tape, which is great. All of the best MacGyver's inventions were made with tape. On the front we can see that there is this plastic cover, and on the back there is this metal cover. Obviously plastic cover is a lot better than this default Chinese steel cover, because when the controller heats up, this will melt into the shape of the aluminum casing and attach to it a lot better than the one over here. So obviously plastic covers that melt are a lot better. This beautiful green color makes it easier for you to recognize where the front of the controller is, in case you couldn't see the wires for reasons. So having 2 symmetrical covers on both sides with the same color is really bad. You always want to differentiate the front from the back with the different color, because again, it might happen that you can't see the wires. If we look closer at those covers, we can see that the metal one has a silicone seal at the end, which makes it waterproof, and the plastic one doesn't have that. Well, this enables you to pour some water into these holes and make it water cooled. In this case we would flip it up like that and then pour some water in this hole, and the hot water would come out of this one. And having no seals on this end with the wires makes it a lot easier to cool. Such feature isn't available on other brushless controllers, because those ones have even the wires sealed with this silicone, whatever it is. Now moving to the wiring part of this controller, we can see that there isn't a lot of wires. There is one for the Hall sensors, one for powering electronics inside this controller, one for throttle, 3 motor wires and battery wires. That's great because most of the time you don't need all of the wiring available in other controllers, like this whatever that is, probably like brake or like this alarm or like learn wires, whatever that's for. You only want the bare minimum from the product that you buy. Now, one of the things that I don't like about this controller is the wrapped wires that it comes with. So for example, this sensor wires, there are 5 of them, and because they are wrapped inside this black thing, you can't see them. Every e-bike rider wants to show off their cables and how much colors there are. So for example, on this one, you can see all of the wires that are coming out of this plug. It makes it really flashy, really colorful, and it makes you feel good about yourself. Next thing that I really hate about this controller is that it uses very tiny connectors for the throttle control. Nobody likes to have tiny connectors on their controller. Everyone prefers to have those big, chunky plastic terminals that are so big that you can't even fit them under like some cover inside your e-bike. Those are really nice. A lot better than the tiny ones that are here. The power wires have those loop terminals at the end. Those might be easy to attached to other wires, and this might be secure connection that doesn't heat up and can transfer a lot of power, but it's really bad. What I would expect from a motor controller is something like this. Very tiny, crappy, cheap. Those are a lot better because they can transfer a lot less current, they can heat up, they can disconnect by themselves because they are not screwed with a bolt like those ones, and that's why those are better. Again, big fail from the 80 amps controller. While watching this video, eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that there is a little plastic antenna stuck underneath this bolt. I like this feature because it's probably used by the government to spy on me, and I really enjoy being spied by the government. So that's a really nice feature that this controller provides. I really like it. Am I even touching it? Oh, here, see? I bet that some FBI agent just fell off his chair. Boing, boing. Inside it there is a LED that blinks some errors if they occur, so for example some HAL sensor errors or something like that, and there is a hole so that you can view the light coming from the inside. And using glue instead of some plastic piece that's fit to the shape of the hole is a lot better because glue stands out more. So if there are some errors, you can easily locate the hole because of all of that glue that's on top and all around. You can really easily see that. That makes it easier to locate the hole and see the errors. The controller overall is rated for 80 amps phase current, but I haven't actually tested it yet. And I can assume right now that it will probably go into thermal shutdown after like 30 seconds fully loaded. And every user likes when their device goes into thermal shutdown because that makes them feel like their device is really well protected from them. Inside this device there is a microcontroller that has only 32 kilobytes of flash memory, and I can assure you that all of the planned features for this controller couldn't fit on it, meaning that the flash memory is fully used, which is very nice because that means that with the limited features of this controller you are still using all of the flash memory inside the microcontroller that you paid for. It would be really inefficient if we paid for bigger controller and didn't use all of the flash memory on it. The microcontroller inside this thing didn't have enough pins to support analog throttle input, so there is only digital throttle control, similar to the ones that are used in servo motors or drones. That's great that there is no analog signal throttle because the world is going away from analog and it's moving towards digital signals like this one, so that's a great feature. And the last thing is that I haven't even used it inside a bicycle. I haven't really tested it inside a bicycle, and I already found like 26 things wrong with the PCB itself that have to be fixed. So this is the best controller ever. Like for example, there could be some bad silk screen labels, wrong MOSFET driver, wrong filters, wrong resistor on gate drivers, bad layout that gives shunt amplifiers very noisy reading, heatsink thermistor that isn't underneath the heatsink, so you have to run wires really far, lack of filters which are really important, and without those the controller wouldn't run. I had to botch them on like separate PCB and stick it inside to make it run, and so on and so on. Yeah, there is a lot of things wrong with this. I mean, there is a lot of great things about this controller. Nice labeling on your PCBs, it's just manufacturing cost to put them on. Okay, so this was my review of this probably 5 kilowatt controller. Hopefully now you know what to look out for while buying or making your own controllers. Oh, and I've just realized I haven't mentioned that there is PID control used to limit the current on the motor's phases, and sometimes it wants to oscillate, which I haven't tested yet, but it probably would make your whole bicycle vibrate like crazy and give you a really nice massage. Also very great feature, only available in the best controllers on the market.